So with the rise of digital games, one thing console gamers have become very accustomed to is shovelware. You know it, you love it. I mean, you don't really love it, but shovelware has definitely infiltrated console gaming, I would say, ever since the Wii U. The Wii U kind of lowered the entry point of what a game developer really was and allowed a lot of creative freedom for very, very small companies because nobody else was making games for the system. And with that, you had some success stories. You had some really good independent games, and then, well, I mean, you had Meme Run. You know, to be fair, I remember Meme Run like paid for that dude's college. It was just like some college kid who made a stupid game. Nintendo approved it, and then it was released, and it ended up selling because it was like a novelty. It wasn't a good game or anything like that, but he paid for his college. And then like ever since the Wii U, the entry point to be a game developer or publisher has definitely been lowered quite a bit. But it seems like things might actually be changing a little bit potentially because Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox have teamed up and said some very interesting things. So could this be the end of shovelware? I mean, probably not, but this could help curve a lot of things. So what am I talking about? Well, Sony Interactive Entertainment put out a statement yesterday on an update to our shared commitment to safer gaming. And this is kind of interesting because, you know, this is an official Sony thing, yet you see a Switch 2, PlayStation, and Xbox logo. So what is this all about? It starts out basically saying Sony Interactive Entertainment, Nintendo, and Microsoft continue to collaborate to improve player safety across our platforms since we first announced our shared commitment to safer gaming. We believe gaming is for everyone and strive to provide experiences that are positive and enjoyable for all, especially for our youngest players. So you kind of get the gist of this. This is obviously, you know, geared towards the younger demographic, the whole Roblox thing. Like, you got these weirdo people, adults and stuff on the Roblox. Like, I'm not going to get into that stuff because I'm kind of the wood chipper mentality. Like, just get a wood chipper and throw these individuals into it. But obviously there are some predatory things that are happening on places like Roblox, places that have a younger demographic and have a large community online aspect. So I think that's kind of what is spurning this on. Is it something that's actually going to go into effect and actually change things dramatically? Like that, I'm not so sure of because, like, I feel like it's kind of one of those things where it's so far gone already. It's like maybe you're just trying to make the future a little bit better. But they work to accomplish this by pursuing a multidisciplinary approach, integrating advanced tech, research-driven insights, supportive community efforts, and skilled human oversight. So they basically go on prevention, empower players and parents to understand and control gaming experiences, codes of conduct, terms of service. And like I get the kid protecting aspect, like that's cool. But I also feel like this might affect trash talk. Like, you say something out of pocket to someone on an online video game and then they go report you and then you get in trouble or something like that. Like, it's a very slippery slope as far as stuff like that is concerned, especially when you consider it's probably not a human that's checking these things. It's an AI. But I think the message is good because God forbid parents, pay attention to what their kids are doing. They just kind of plop them in front of an iPad or, a video game console. Like, here you go, Jimmy, go have fun. And when I was a kid, it wasn't a big deal because there wasn't any sort of online stuff. I was playing, single player Genesis and local multiplayer N64 games. But nowadays, it's obviously a very, very different story when it comes to stuff like that. So you keep scrolling down here. Partnership, we're working with law enforcement and stuff like that. But here's where things get interesting, because when you get to responsibility, in addition to removing content not suitable for our services, we take appropriate enforcement actions for violations, including restricting players from our services while escalating restrictions for egregious or repeat offenses. We engage in responsible and transparent tactics, including the ethical use of all data. Yeah, I'm sure it's very ethical. Delay process, blah, blah, blah. But what's interesting is, like, this is actually bleeding into shovelware and things involving shovelware. Basically, the companies kind of teaming up to prevent these sort of things. Because when you think about it, you go onto the Nintendo Switch eShop right now, you're getting a million different hentai games. You know, somebody, a buddy of mine, literally sent me some foot hentai game that's available on the Switch and was like, "Are you going to review this?" And I was like, "No, you deviant freak person." Like, I don't get the feet thing. Feet are fine. I'm not grossed out by feet. But, like, I'm just going to keep it a buck here. Like, you got boobs, you got butt. And then there are people that are like, you know, boobs are okay, but, you know, whatever. Obviously, other things, too. I want to go for the feet. The feet are what's going to get my rocks off. And, like, you see it all the time. Hentai, Sudoku, stuff like that. All of these asset flip games. And it's not just the Nintendo Switch. It's all platforms. You have these foreign developers, domestic developers, just making these simple, stupid games, asset flip nonsense, and clogging up the shops. And that's really the most important thing here, is that the good games, that, you know, the companies that release one game, they're getting buried by all this other nonsense. Well, it seems like Sony might be taking the first blow against this to stop this shovelware, because a company called Thai Games, like, I want to say Thai, but the company's actually German, but they released over 1,000 games for the PS5 and PS4. The Jumping Bon Bon Match 5, the Jumping Food Racing 2, the Jumping Food Catcher, the Jumping Food Racing, the Jumping Orange 3, the Jumping Bon Bon Match 4, the Jumping Strawberry, the Jumping Orange 2, the Jumping Bon Bon Match 3. Like, a lot of jumping stuff here. But what's interesting is, you go and you click this now to check out the page. Oh, wait a minute. Where did this go? You know, what happened to this? All right, well, what about the Jumping Food Racing 2? Can I still get the Jumping Food Racing? No. So it looks like they have removed pretty much all of this company's games because they are essentially a shovelware asset flip company. I'm sure, you know, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, and I'm not going to accuse this company of doing it. But I will say, I'm sure there are companies that are utilizing AI technology to make even more slop. So to kind of come out and start doing something about it now, it's kind of like, well, better late than never, I feel. You know, eventually you're going to have to stop this. Eventually you're going to have to put your foot down and be like, hey, cut the bullshit. You know, nobody's buying these games. You're just dumping all of these games onto our server, taking up server space, and not allowing discovery of games that are actually worth a damn. And you see these fly-by-night companies pop up all the time and make these crappy-ass games. Like, and even, like, sometimes the companies themselves, like Sony and Xbox and Nintendo, will share a trailer for some shovelware slop game. And it's like, well, you know, are your ethics really in the right place? Why are you sharing this trailer? But there is kind of another side to this. And that is, what determines a shovelware game? You know? Because, like, I get it. You know, the Jumping Bon Bon, the Jumping Strawberry, the Jumping Orange. Clearly, that's just shovelware slop. But what if it's just a bad game? You know? And what if it's something that, you know, it's just a bad game and a company makes, I guess volume would play a role in that. But it kind of does make you wonder a little bit, like, maybe not even necessarily censorship, but like dictating what games are considered viable, possibly based on a genre or something like that. And you can even make the case for the weird hentai games. You know, all because I don't like it doesn't mean that there aren't people out there that do like it. And there clearly are people that do like it. Somebody is buying these games. Somebody. It's not me, but, you know, it's somebody out there. And so it's like, well, you know, I think it's a very slippery slope. Obviously, a situation where a company is making thousands of games, okay, that's clearly a problem. That's clearly they're clearly not making thousands of games in a short span of time. There's clearly some nefarious thing going on with that. But then you factor in AI, and if AI helps speed up the process of game development, could a company feasibly make a couple of games a year? And you know, I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Because obviously Sony has taken the first strike against a company. because they nuked all of this company's games off of their server literally right after putting out this joint statement with Nintendo and Xbox. So obviously there's something going on behind the scenes with this, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, because eventually you have to imagine that some company is going to fight back on it, and some company is going to say, we're not shovelware. We just make games that we find interesting. And maybe there is a Jumping Strawberry fan club out there of people who want to see these games. And who are you to decide what's a shovelware game and what's not? I don't know, man. That's what happens when you lower that entry point. You make everyone a game developer. You let everyone do everything. Let me know in the comment section down below, though. What do you think about this? Because I think this is actually going to change things for all three companies and all of their digital distribution. Obviously, the protection stuff is good as long as, you know, it's primarily focused on younger demographics. Like, I don't really need protection from mean words from people online. I get that enough on YouTube. But the other aspect, the other side of the coin, I think will be very interesting. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.